Thanks for taking the time, Coach. Would you like to start with a statement or jump into questions?
Yeah, I'll start with a statement. I just want to say again just how proud I am of our group, the players, the coaches, just for battling. It took the whole time to get it done, and it's the type of finish that we're looking for, to just keep playing ball while we have time, as long as we're on the grass and we got a chance to just keep playing ball. So I was really proud of the finish by the offense, really proud of the finish by the defense right there on that critical fourth down. And to just feel the energy on the sideline after that play in the locker room was certainly special for us, as we've been just battling. So I just want to say that first and foremost.
All right, let's go to Mike K, followed by Scott Fowler.
Hey, Dave. Have you made a decision on QB1 for this week? And if so, how has Andy's injury timeline impacted that decision?
We have not, so we're working through it right now. Still just trying to make sure we think about all the things that go into it, make sure we're all on the same page, communicating that, and then we'll make a decision in the next couple of days.
And then from the standpoint of you going into your first trade deadline, I mean, the hours are kind of dwindling here. What's your outlook on the next, 24 or I guess 26 hours and how you're going to approach it before you guys head off to Germany?
Yeah, I'm going to let Dan and Brant just kind of look at whatever opportunities might be out there. And for me, I'm just going to, focus with the staff on getting ready to play the Giants in Germany and have a successful trip that way.
Dave, after you watched tape, what were your sort of general, more specific impressions about Bryce's performance yesterday?
I thought it was great, just Bryce being out there playing more football, taking some steps. I know that being out there with that group of receivers and just getting the chemistry of how guys are going to respond with different coverages, different leverages, to see the guys that can make plays for him and for Bryce to, take advantage of some of those opportunities. So I was really pleased with that, and just the flow of the offense and running our offense, all those things that we talked about, there was a lot of great improvement in that regard. And again, a lot of other specific things that, I'll keep in house. But generally just proud of him going out there, just battling and finishing the way we did.
And just to make sure I'm understanding on Andy, is his hand totally healthy now? I mean, is it just basically a decision you're going to make on performance? Are they both 100%?
We're going to take all those things into consideration, Scott, and I don't want to give any specific, tips or tells on all that right now. I know that, Andy had a good week of practice, and we had to evaluate, going into this game, which we'll do today, and make sure we get all that information.
All right, let's go to Joe Person, follow up with David Newton.
Hey, Dave, just I'm wondering, is part of this just not to put something out there for the Giants in terms of quarterback? Is it a little bit of gamesmanship, if you will?
It's both. It's all of it. It's just making sure that we make the right decision, first of all, for us, but then also, just making sure there's a component of it, too. Like, the sooner they know who they're game planning for, the sooner they can get it. So there's no competitive advantage to making that decision, but mostly it's just about us taking all the information in that we have right now and making the decision.
Have you told the quarterback who's starting that he is starting already?
We have not talked yet.
Yeah. And then lastly, and I know Mike asked about the trade deadline, but there have been a couple specific names mentioned of your guys. Would you have any input with Dan on Clowney and or Adam Thielen specifically?
I'm going to keep all those conversations between us, and I'm honestly letting Dan and Brant handle those things, and I'm just going to focus on the football right here. And when they need to get me involved with decisions, they will.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dave, wanted to ask you, is it as clear-cut? You've been saying up until Andy hurt his thumb that Andy gave you the best chance to win. Is that line as clear-cut as it was before the thumb injury?
Again, we're going to look at all the stuff. We watched the film. We met as a staff. We have to consider all those things and make the best decision for us.
How much of this will be figured on developing for the future beyond this year or is it all focused on this year?
All those things are a factor. That's a great question. All those things play into it. And, for me, my focus has to be this week, going to Germany, playing the Giants.
Okay, and then Jonathan Brooks, you plan to activate him where he could play this week?
Really optimistic about Jonathan as far as just the week that he had. We got a real critical decision to make with him this week, really on Wednesday. So Brooks and Jaden Crumity will be the two decisions we got to make this week, whether we feel like it's time for them to come up.
Appreciate it.
And Dave, Thielen should be ready, and Wanham, you think will both be ready?
They're trending that way, but again, we have to make sure we get to the practices, see them go full speed, feel really good about where they're at before we can make that decision.
Let's go to Mike K, followed by Cassie Hill.
Dave, I was wondering if I could ask you about a coach who you've known for a pretty long time, and if my pronunciation's wrong, please correct me. But Keely has been working with the centers, and he's worked with three different starting centers who have all performed pretty well. What does he do well as a coach, and why do you think the group or the trio has responded to his coaching?
Yeah, so, first of all, Keli'i Kekueba. So, and he's done a fantastic job being able to work with the centers, understanding the schemes. He's been in our system for a while, so I think that really helps transition guys, onboard guys, if you will. Cade coming back to us in terms of getting our targets the right way in the run game and what we're looking for in our protection schemes. These are all things that he has great familiarity with. And of course, Goody and Joe and the time that we've spent together, just giving Kelly the ability to work specifically with those guys has been awesome. And but again, also just tip of the cap to Joe getting Brady out there and functioning at tackle for us, the way he did. So all across that line, that group has done a great job for us.
Sorry, my turn?
Go ahead, Cassie, yes.
Hey, Dave. Mike Jackson played, I think, 100% of the snaps yesterday. Now that you have Dane back as well, and what is that going to kind of look like as the weeks go on? What are you measuring for who you want out there? Is it situational? What would that look like?
It's about production. Mike Jack played great. He had a solid game. He knocked a couple of balls down. I thought the communication on the back half as a whole was better this week, particularly as they got down to the red zone and the way we matched some of their concepts. So there's great growth there. Dane came back to us 1 week on, missed a week, and then back again. So I think that there's just making sure that Dane is completely just feeling confident in where he's at. But right now, Mike Jack's our starter.
And then kind of the same question on the back end as Jordan and Nick rehab. How do you measure wanting to get Damani more and more snaps? I mean, you think he's led tackles for you 2 weeks in a row now versus having that experience in Jordan or Nick?
Yeah, great decisions for us to make, as guys start to come back to us, and really proud of Damani, the way that he's applied himself, the way that he's studied the film, asked questions, been involved with the game plan. All the reports I'm getting from the defensive coaches is he was just a stud about the whole opportunity that he's gotten. So he certainly has made a statement for himself, and then we got some good decisions to make as we get guys back.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Alex Zetlow, followed by Nick Carboni.
Hey Dave, I am looking ahead to this week. I know Monday's time to reflect, but just looking to Munich. You went to Munich in 2022 with the Seahawks. How do you reflect on that trip, and how that trip went impact your routines going forward and how you approach this week?
Yeah, it was a great experience. It was also a great challenge. It challenges you to be really disciplined about how we organize our days with our sleep patterns, making sure that our nutrition and hydration and all those things stay on course. How we leave, how we treat the flight, all those things matter. And then just on top of that is going to be cooler. It's going to be in the high 40s, so that's a factor. And then the surface that we play on, it's a longer type of grass surface. So we just have to be realistic about what that requires, and we have the equipment and all those things kind of factored and accounted for. But it's a great challenge, and the cool part is it's a challenge for both teams. And it's like one of the edges is who handles this travel and the discipline of the sleep and all that better can help you. And then just make it about the football, right? So if we can handle those things and get back to the basics and execute, then that's our best chance to have success.
So are you instituting a curfew? Like, how do you how do you handle the sleep thing?
Yeah, it's curfew. It's the time you wake guys up. It's all those things. It's trying to keep guys up while you're there, and then a bunch of other. There's all these other factors, that we're trying to implement, and things that we've experienced, from Seattle or here going, going that way. So again. There's a lot that goes into it, and I think simply put, it's like the sleep is a huge part of it, and the hydration part, making sure you're on top of those things.
And does the sleep thing, sorry, last one, does the sleep thing happen when you finally get over there, or have you already started saying, hey, change your clocks while you're in North Carolina?
No, it really starts by the time you get on the plane.
Okay.
And then from that point, for the flight there, how you handle that flight, and then once you're there, how you handle the wake-up times and your sleep and your curfew, all those things are factors.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Dave, I had two if I could. What have you seen in the way of Bryce's improvement mechanically, especially his footwork, if you have seen that improvement?
He's growing in every aspect that I can say. I don't want to get into too many specifics about all those things. Those are conversations that we keep. But, it's his investment in just continuing to grow with the concepts, timing things up. And those are all the things that he's doing.
And noticed every game this year, after every game, you've been by the tunnel to greet every player, win or lose. Wonder why you think that's important, and is that something you've done in other roles besides head coach?
I just want the guys to know I'm with them. Win or lose, I got your back. We're going to do everything in our power to keep pushing our football forward, the philosophy of the things we stand for, the style of how we play, and ultimately the finish. And to know from the start to the finish, I'm here with you guys. This is our team. This is us. And let's stay together with this as we continue to build the culture and the football that we want to.
Hey, Dave, I realize, Adam's out, but, or has been out. But right now, basically your top three receivers are rookies. I guess that's got to be pretty promising for you. And also, does that play into your quarterback decision in terms of you want those guys, you want the rest of the team to develop, those guys to develop as rookies and having a veteran quarterback as opposed to a younger quarterback? Does that play into your quarterback decision-making? As to who to put out there?
In fairness, these are all factors that we have to consider, again, just for the guys that have been out there playing, our young guys, JT, Xavier, Jalen, coming in there and really taking strides weekly, I can't say enough about just how maturely they've handled just the grind of continuing to just improve one day at a time, 1 week at a time, seeing progress, seeing the fruits of their results by being able to make plays, but also being able to come back and see these are the areas that I can improve upon from 1 week to the next. So.
All right, got time for a few more. Let's go to Jeff Hawkins and then finish with Joe and David.
Greetings, Coach.
Hey, Jeff.
Early on, the Saints looked like was having the way with the running game, but the secondary was limiting all the big plays. Can you speak of what the secretary did to the Saints as compared to, the first week, the route through the first week, and all the secondary starters played 100% of the snaps, and the trust that you have in them. Thank you.
Yeah, it's owning leverage, knowing the calls, getting our cleats set before the snap, and just the assignment and the communication that just continues to grow. The more opportunities we have to play with each other. And those are the strides the guys are taking. They're taking the coaching. They continue to play hard, and showing up at the ball, making plays is a huge part of it.
Am I next?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Dave, it looked like Coker did something to his shoulder yesterday. How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's a little sore today. I was really proud of him for getting back out there on the field. He went in, they checked him out. They said, you're okay, you can play. He came back out and finished the game off for us. So I was really proud of that. Those are the types of things. Those are the types of steps that guys are taking on their own just to say, I want to be out here. I want to play for this team. I want to find a way to win. And I just love the spirit of that. Xavier got examined, came back out, kept playing. Jadeveon got examined, came back out, kept playing. Just the fight that these guys are showing for each other, to be back out there and to be able to finish the way we did was awesome.
And then, wonder what your thoughts were hearing about Dennis Allen today.
My heart goes out to Dennis. I got friends on that staff, Andrew Janoko, Clint Kubiak, some guys that I've known for a while, Rick Dennison and all that. So, I certainly feel for those guys, who've been presented with some real challenges, throughout this season. And I just know, like, we all face different challenges, and I just appreciated the way that they, approached it with class, and talking to them before the game, and the way that they were just, being studs about just continuing to push their group and to improve, and so, my heart goes out with all those guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you on Xavier Woods' hit, when you went back and looked at that on film, what did you see? I know that one of our stats was that Xavier's had 9 of those type penalties since 2017, which is more than anybody else. So what's your thoughts and philosophy on that, and what do you tell the player?
It's a violent hit. We try to tell them you strike with your near shoulder, and it was in that upper, chest head area, and so from an officiating standpoint, I can see what they saw, and certainly the result of the play, but again, it's a really challenging position for those defensive backs, making full speed decisions in those critical moments, so that's a part where, like, the high speed and part of our game that we certainly, it's always like right on the cutting edge of that, and so it's something that we can see, we can grow from.
Do you agree with the call on the field then, or?
I think it was a good call.
Okay. And one more Bryce question. I mean, do you have to, I know you could probably say this is all factors you got to consider, but I mean, his mindset after playing what he thought was a pretty good game, if you were not to play him, how much does that factor in? Because you don't want to hurt his confidence.
Those are all things we got to consider as we make our decision.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.